Welcome to the grim, lawless 23rd century, following the fall of U.S. Gov and mass depopulation of major cities at the hands of the multi-trillionaire de Huberton family. Baptized in radioactive hellfire, a rare mutation makes Turbo a fiercely pumped scrapper, haunted by specters from her past, surviving the post-apocalyptic wasteland one deathmatch pit fight at a time. But when she rescues the stunning trophy girl, the unlikely duo are thrust into a harrowing odyssey, evading marauding berserkers at every turn on their way to the ultimate showdown as they uncover the horrific truth behind the fall of humanity.
A little bit, and drop. Oh, give some. Zoom in on something. I'm gonna zoom in on something too.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right, Jake. How's it going up there?
Hey, Kurt. Welcome, everybody, to another episode. We're making Turbo Pit Fighter sci-fi comic. I apologize to everybody if it seems like he's still doing that stuff on the computer. I haven't had too much free time because I'm moving, and that's getting a little intense.
Yeah.
But thank God I have this time here with Kurt and you guys to meet, and we're going to try to plow through as much of this as we can. I was reading the teaser with fresh eyes the other day, and we some minor details, but we do have to tweak a lot of this lettering. Some of the stuff is really packed in, and it's pretty easily fixable, but we just got to put in the time. I think some of these words are running together, so that's what I'm fixing. But I'm going to be also just fixing this whole page just to make it readable, legible, and anything else I see along the way. And a couple things came up as far as like maybe some editorial tweaks that we'll make. I'll bring those up as they surface. But one other interesting thing from process-wise is we had a 10% tint in the background of all these word balloons and these kind of like announcer balloons where it's jaggy here.
Yeah.
And so every time I moved some letters last time, I was creating like a little white gap behind them. And you can't see the 10% tint on this computer right now because 10% is too light for the display. It isn't until you make it darker. Let's see, if I make it darker like this, then maybe you can see it. No, not even. Anyway, that if you look at the eyedropper here, there's a 10% tint back here. So moving this stuff around create these little white gaps. So what I have to do at the end is just like, grab the whole thing and just fill it up with 10%.
Right.
And I was thinking about making that a little darker actually. I think 10%. It's really light, and some printers may vary. Sometimes it just goes to nothing. So I was thinking maybe we should bump that up to like 20%, but
yeah,
we'll do that at the end because we'll keep everything like uniform,
Yep.
Yeah. So how's your week?
All's good. I am actually getting closer. Matter of fact, tomorrow I will be scanning. Wow. Let me see if I can show off this. It's going to be a little pretty excited. So I'm working on the revised edition of Crom the Barbarian steadily. It is a public domain character that I grabbed the original comics from the 1950s. Gardner F. Fox, John Junta, and then an additional story with let's see, was it Jack Katz? And then I turned around and contributed 4 more stories, but I did them in ballpoint pen. But I have a devoted channel called CrownTheBarbarian.com and a YouTube channel, which is my Kurt Variant Inker YouTube channel, where I've been doing a lot of, talking about the process, showing off. I've actually had you on for each of the stories to give me some art direction. And I'm also working with 5 other guest artists to do some pinups. I have, other than that, an additional 36 pages of a prose story that was written in 1952 by Gardner Fox, called Warlock of Sharador. And I converted it into Crumb the Warlock of Sharador. And now I am, this is where it gets kind of tricky. Let me see if I can get this out of the way to get these things to stick. And I'm supplying 36 spot illustrations. So I have just completed I'm pretty happy with them. And they're just classical spot illustrations. Real simple. These are going to get shrunken down to about 4¼ inch by 4¼ inch center page. I'll show this off right over here. You can see in here. These are my notes here, my layouts, which was this. Here it is. There you go. You can see the format. So this is going to be an additional 36 pages to Crumb the Barbarian collected and revised edition. And so with that being said, I will be scanning tomorrow not only these illustrations, but the final pages for my revised comic stories, and then start putting that together. It's going to be magazine size. I'm probably thinking it's going to be, it's ever going to be black and white, and it'll probably be over 100 pages of just sword and sandal, sword and sorcery, tomfoolery, good old-fashioned comics. So I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty obsessed. One of the things I did want to kind of talk about is, or share, the experience of being in process mode of making a comic. Obviously, the making the pages, the art is such a joy for the most part, but then you need to put the pages together, into a format. But even beyond that, you have publishing, printing, and marketing. So I will also be sharing a lot of marketing stuff that I'll be doing to get this out here into the wild, into your hands, if this is something that tantalizes you. But that is really all I've been doing, other than, I have a commission and, some other things, business-wise, I gotta stay on top of. But that's my excitement for the week.
So a prose story being added. That's cool.
Yep.
You mentioned the scanner, and I think this is my first opportunity really to zoom in to the high-res scans in Photoshop, where you can see on a WYSIWYG display, basically what you're getting. And I know budgets are limited. We don't have like $1,000 drum scanners or anything. But I did notice like areas where it's light. I wonder like what the original looks like on something like this, because some of these light tones seem like they're maybe they're not as sharp, not as crisp. It seems pretty good here, where the dark tones in. The more you zoom in, you start to get pixelated. That has to do with the resolution that you choose. But I noticed like on some of the other pages, like there was like some faces that were like dark and light, and it looks like the dark and the mid-tones held, but the light, seems like it was weak. It seems like it was weak, and I don't know if there's a scanner setting that you can do. Like, some of this stuff looks a little patchy in the light tones, and one thing I did was I compared my scanner to a digital photo that I take on my iPhone now because I got my new iPhone, and it's my home scanner here does up to 1200 DPI, and it's still better. Although I have to do it in tiles, which is a pain in the butt. But something like this right here, like I'm even tempted to go in, on the quick mask, and then maybe like pump up some of this, um, maybe like some of this, call the value saturation. Oops, I have the opposite. Because some of these scans are, it looks like you're see what I just did. It looks like some of the light tones are fading out. Like the values are going way down. I don't know if that's a scanner thing or if the original's like that. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Next time you scan something, take a look at the really light tones and see where they go.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what else is going on in the world? It's Mother's Day today. Happy day to all the mothers out there. I was doing some last minute stuff with my students. And of course the shoemaker's kids go without shoes. The old expression. But hopefully all the mothers out there are getting some attention. We have just another week as we approach the drum beats are drumming towards the summer months where school's over for me, and that'll change some things over. I did sign up for summer school this year, but I'm not sure where that's going. If they do want me to teach, because once you put your name in the application, you're just on this list, and whoever taught last summer and the summer before gets priority. So I'll find out if I'm teaching summer school or not. Either way,
Did you
I
teach
do need
last
to do
year?
some work. Summer school, no.
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
I don't know why. I guess that was all
no.
that. I put all of that interviewing process that you were going through as schooling.
Yeah, the year
that had you
before I
pretty.
did, but
Yeah, that last summer that you were pretty determined to get over to that other school for their cartooning program.
yeah, I applied for an opening in a cartooning program, but they never ended up filling the position, and I was on pins and needles all
Yeah,
summer, hoping
yeah,
for my
brutal,
dream job, but
brutal.
was not to be. Yep. And that same school posted an opening this year, which I applied for, but I don't know if it's in the cartooning department. So we'll see if they contact me. If not, there's probably a reason why. I've been teaching so long. Sometimes they don't want to pick up a teacher with a
Old
high
guy.
salary. Yeah, if they can get a new teacher at like 2/3 of the salary, but there could be other reasons too, like maybe they just got somebody better. But I'll see, because it's a school with a lot of different departments, and I don't really think it's going to be a cartooning opening, because last time I was there on a field trip, I tried to ask around and didn't really. I didn't get the indication that they were trying to do that again.
Right, right.
So so this summer I might just teach regular middle school art, which is nice that kids can do art during summer. They'll have two academic classes and then one class of art. But the way it works in New York City, they're cutting budgets, so the hours will be scaled back. And the only reason my school would have art this summer is because the art teacher, stepped up and volunteered, and the principal was willing to fund it rather than, math and literacy, where they're worried about the test scores all the time. So I have a good principal and admin, and we could have some fun this summer, but they canceled summer school on Fridays, so excuse me. So that's going to be different. And hold on, I'm just going to grab some tea here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they canceled summer school on Friday. They just send the kids home, and they also knocked off an hour of the school day too. So you can thank the mayor for that. Just giving kids less and less. Sucks to be a kid in a New York City public school in the summer program. But another thing came up I wanted to run by you. I was invited to display an artwork in a show for New York City art teachers, and they just had the opening on Friday night, and so that was pretty fun. And the art center there on the Upper West Side was saying that they have all this community space and that they're open for residencies if a teacher wanted to have a one-time event or teach a class that went year-round, and all this interesting possibilities. So I'm going to be following up with them because there might be a chance for me to do a comic course, in their space, and that would be once a week. Excuse me. Oh my God, my voice.
Yeah, you got a frog
But
here.
I do.
That was froggy.
Yeah.
I had the same thing last week. Must be some allergies going on.
Oh man, I've never had allergies my whole life, and this year they say, the doctors around here are saying that they've never seen it like this.
You know what the secret to allergies are? You know how to keep them away, or keep them.
I don't know. I've never had them before.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting the itchy eye, and just feeling kind of weird. So,
local honey, and I get started in April. So as soon as you get a couple of those warm days, especially if you get a warm day where there's some budding, like you can see some little buds coming up, I just start putting a little teaspoon of local honey into my tea and my coffee, my blueberries and yogurt. Because the thing is, I've been doing this since the 90s, as a matter of fact, because somebody told me if you consume to your interior the nature pollen in your neighborhood, your region. There's nothing to there's no reason for your body to then resist, because you're breathing it all the time. It was a moment you got windows open or you're outside, going around doing your thing. It's inescapable. But drugs don't really do all that other than maybe put some relief here and there. But I usually get about a day or two of grogginess. Right around, last week, I had my froggy voice. Like it was just couldn't seem to get enough. Sip of coffee.
Well, there's your homespun remedies for today, folks. I hope you appreciate you.
Yeah, and support your local bee. I have 3 beekeepers in my region. Like, I wouldn't say one of them I could walk to, but the other 2 are just about 10 minutes away driving wise. So, but this year, one of my wife's colleagues at work had just brought some in, and she snatched one up because she knew I'm a big local honey kid. So that was the bonus. I didn't have to buy any.
Well, there you go, folks. The secret to fighting allergies is fight fire with fire.
Yes.
Right. Um, so I did want to do kind of like a short stack here. I'm gonna turn on a light here. I'm gonna say let's just do a 6-pack, and I'm gonna adjust my camera accordingly, because I have a I have this big pile. If you look up here, to go through still, and that's one of 3 bags I brought back from Florida. So so I'm not even like, so I just figured like let's just make this. I'm gonna raise my arm too, so we go a little bit higher. So let's just keep this incremental, but this will just be a little interlude, and you'll help me out if I have any glare. All right, starting with, we got the Star Force 6 AC Comics. This
Nice.
is
Nice.
a
Center up.
yeah.
Get
I've
center.
never like this.
A little more.
Center up,
A little more.
like
Yeah.
that.
A little more. You're still off to the right. There you go.
So the Star Force 6, this is the closest to John Byrne I've ever seen. This must have been like when Alpha Flight came out, they wanted to do something similar. You got the Cyclops looking guy. This is a superhero team. The insides are pretty much the same. It's black and white,
It's nice.
but it's really trying to channel John Byrne. The guy's name is Vic Bridges inside. And here AC Comics was in their heyday. I like this cover. So there's that. This is a thick comic. This is #1, and there's just a lot of pages.
Phasers. Remember phasers? I
Oh.
wonder if these are that you actually had a phaser in one of your stacks. It was a I don't know if it was a AC comic, but
Well,
the same thing. It was
this
like a John
apparently
Burns superhero knockoff thing. So
this apparently is a extension of Bolt. Bolt #1 was an AC comic that came out, and they have this whole Our Story So Far thing, and it really goes into like the whole story. They have a whole world here and a whole thing going on. So these I pick up whenever I can. This is an autographed copy of the Anomalies, and you can tell by the print, the type style, that this is more recent. This is a photo comic, which I come across every once in a while.
Oh wow!
And photo comics, it's a very interesting concept. People are out, they're dressing up like cosplay, they're having fun, and they say, why don't we take photos and go through action sequences and make that the comic. So the problems there are, these guys, they don't really know how to level photographs for print. They're very dark. And that's a big thing. You have to really adjust things. You have to like really brighten up the low and medium tones, and then harden up the contrast. I love their ambition here. There's like this superhero team. They added some special effects. They're using whiz bang, so that tells you the time period. This was October 2000 when this comes out. So this is the Anomalies #1, and
who put it out?
These people it was Abnormal Fun Comics. Never heard of them, and they look like they're out of Winter Park, Florida, and it looks like a bunch of young people really having a creative idea here. I think there should be more photo comics, but I also think that there should be more I guess instruction in using photo reference. Like what I want to do, if I get a high school level class for comics, I want to send kids out into the hall and just take some, have one person take a picture of 2 people fighting, and take some of those shots, bring it in, print it out, put it on a light table, and then create your characters based on those poses. And I think, that would show kids how they can really use photo references the best way.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
looks like a teaser.
yeah. Hold on a
Oh, go
second.
ahead.
Hold on a second. Yeah, get centered. Can you get a little better in the center there? You're off to the right. All your comics. Keep going. Keep going. Perfect, Jake. Perfect. Thank you. Well, the thing that always comes to me is anytime I see a photo comic, I think, wow, this would be pretty cool to just then make another version of that comic using those references. Because even
Right.
way back in the with Al Williamson, he wasn't the only one. The EC guys, Angelo Torres, and anyhow, they just shot 35 millimeter until Polaroid film got really easy and popular, and there's an art to both posing for reference and then working off of reference. And Al
Oh, definitely.
Williamson is just the master. But you go all the way now to Alex Ross. All of Alex Ross's stuff
Yeah.
is completely
Yeah.
from a photograph. Now, how he manages his art from that photo is the mastery. That's where people go, oh, wow. And then, he doubles down because, his chosen medium is watercolor, which is just a very unforgiving medium. And he's not only mastered it, but I mean, he's making stuff happen with it. And it's fantastic. So, and also to get on double on your kids using their phones, and you get a couple friends together, and I mean, you could tell an entire story.
Right. If you're gonna do that though, you got to watch out for the standing around problem.
Yes, yeah,
These guys are all dressed up and they're taking photos, and what do we see? Page after page after page of standing around. Maybe a little bit of action here. Like, where are some Neil Adams foreshortened fight scenes?
yeah.
Standing around. Like, come on, guys, give us some action, please. So and that would be what I would be telling them. I would be showing them like some Neil Adams comics, and go Worm's Eye, go down your arm, put the camera on the end of your arm, all that kind of stuff. So I think there's great possibility for that. This one looks like, I don't know if this is a little bit graffiti influenced. This guy's wearing a Beastie Boys shirt, which I have. I have that shirt. Um, and this looks like a teaser. It's pretty thin. You got Whiz Bang font for the for the lettering again. So this was put out in 1998, and I like the style. It's an interesting black and white style with some nice hatching, some good tones. Uh, I don't know, kind of like standing around to me. I'm not sure what this is about. I think this is about a guy getting ready for a date or something. Here he goes into like a tech room. I don't know. No, not too crazy about this. I don't know why I bought this one,
I was going
but
to ask
think
you,
it's
why
because
was it a cover?
I think I got this because it's a black and white indie, and I never heard of the guy or the company, and the company is called, well, it's called Happenstance Jack 3, out of Chicago, and first printing. So yeah, I don't know that one. Sorry. Battle of the Planet featuring Seven Zark 7. Here's a photo reference. Speaking of, this is a painted photo reference. Inside, all right, this is a little bit like maybe imagey, but it's Battle of the Planets. Come on.
Can't
And here's
lose.
some action. Yeah, here's some action. This is coming out from Top Cow slash Image Comics. I didn't know that they did a Battle of the Planet series. Remember, I spoke about running into the guy that's doing the update, and I think he said he was coming out with from Dynamite or Boom or one of those guys.
Mm.
So this came out in 2003, or quite a while ago. And they're just using like kind of like regular Image comic style, but Battle of the Planets has a great potential for for a comic series. I mean, here I don't even see the Battle of the Planets characters. This just looks like regular old Image stuff. Moving right along, I think I got two Mike Grells here. No, wait, these are two Mike Grells. So this is a 100th issue of Warlord. And I just picked this up because it's like a double issue, and sometimes I like looking at Mike Grell. It's a little sword and sorcery-ish. He's a yeoman. Mike Grell's a yeoman. He's not my favorite, but he's been around. And here he goes indie. After doing 100 issues of the Warlord, you got to give it to the guy. Here he goes indie comics with Acclaim Comics, 1995, Star Slayer, the director's cut, 1995. He's putting out his own indie stuff. The printing and the quality, the process kind of reminds me of the Continuity comics, maybe some PC comics, but that looks pretty interesting. A combination of sword and high tech sci-fi here. A little bit Neil Adams influence. This spread I don't like, but I shouldn't spend too much time going inside. Finally, we have Madhouse from Archie Comics,
Right.
12 cents, which means this is probably in the 60s. This is probably like, I don't know, I would say probably like 67 or maybe 68. If it's only 12 cents, right? It's bagged and boarded. I got it for $1. So now I gotta, maybe flip through it. Doesn't look like it's in great shape. So do I put it in the comic box in my school and just leave it to the wolves, or do I consider it a collectible? Folks, if anybody's interested in any of these comics, just contact us, and they can be yours for a song. Starport said this is a packed comic here, and everything from AC is great, but when they were doing all their team comics, I think they had a transition point where they went to like Good Girl Comics. So this is when they were still doing the team comics. Maybe they mixed it all up. But that's my stack for today, and back to the grind we go.
Yeah, so I do have a little unveil at the beginning. I had this package I just received yesterday from our buddy Tanner Hurley. So we did an interview. You should have gotten something in the mail, or you should be getting something in the mail, because he had sent this out maybe like a week. Almost, yeah. Anyhow,
so Tanner Hurley was Rin, right?
Yeah, he's Rin. We have there's a link below. I already opened this. This is a new comic that he has put together called Satellite Girl, a very well funded Kickstarter. Kickstarter. I'll double check on that. I'm not cracking these open. I'm just showing off. I also want to say thank you, Tanner, because I know he's watching. And we're going to do a exchange as soon as we get our second Turbo teaser completed, printed, and ready to go out. So he is he's moved himself top to the list. So just wanted to show you. You should be getting
good. We're
we're going to sit down for the Indie Creator Exchange. So very excited. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds great. We're gonna catch up with all the indie creators that we spoke to before who have something to promote, and that'll be fun. Or else if they just want to check in, I think Tanner was also the one that said he would like to sit in on a Turbo episode, making Turbo, when we get back to the pages.
Yep.
When we get back to making pages.
Yep.
So that ought to be fun.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was a great interview. We had a lot of great connections with other creators. So
Love it.
you check out our Indie Comic Exchange, folks.
Yeah, we have 17 interviews so far, and they are chock full of insight. And I'll say number one reason somebody should sit down and watch all of our Indie Comic Exchanges is every single one has a unique approach to making, producing, and marketing their book. And I might say the amount of success that they were able to achieve. So it's you don't lose. There's no losing when you check these out. So check them out. Link below.
No lose proposition, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to get back to that female artist that I met. But her wares are in a box behind me in the closet. So I guess, should I just hand off her contact info to you, or should I contact her?
That's all you, buddy. Because you should be giving her.
Okay.
You should be giving her also a copy of your version Turbo Teaser. So because that'll be kind of fun. Also, too, I mean, I say things like I'm gonna say, Jake, and I always revert back to respecting the amount of time that you have, but I keep running into channels that everybody's like basically down in Brooklyn making comics, or going into Brooklyn, or are around you. So I might be kicking some names to you just so you can make some connection and get some like heads up about some other shows or just any kind of gathering, and then of course get the indie creator exchange going on. So yeah, that's something I really like to see you be able to dip into. New York City artists.
Brooklyn is a busy place for comics. They have the Brooklyn Con coming up, and then I was at the Creator Con, which is different from the regular con and the cosplay con. So yeah, Brooklyn's a big area, definitely.
I've been watching Comics People. I'll put a link to their YouTube channel. They just did a episode on wordless comics, and I will have to say that is one of my favorite genres, if you will, of comics. And they really pulled out some stuff that I had no idea about it, but the in-depth thing. And they're also both teachers, comic book teachers, and obviously artists themselves and everything. So
how does that work if you have a comic that has just a wordless sequence in it? Do they count that as a wordless comic?
Yeah, it's basically that there's no narration or dialogue. They still allow sound effects, sound effects, and like if
right. But what if it's a wordless section of a regular comic? Does that count?
What do you mean? No, the whole comic has to be. The whole comic has to be.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was made. The intention was that they wanted to make a wordless, dialogue-free, narration-free comic. So they were using just imagery to move you through. And some of them, and I'll share. I do have a lot. I've made some of my own wordless or abstract comics too. That kind of fall in there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really gravitate to. It's definitely a taste acquired if you're really into the old superhero and bash 'em and crash 'em and sexiness. But yeah, it's one of my guilty pleasures.
We covered Cobra and on our flip throughs, and sometimes you're just reading a comic and you just get to a sequence in the comic that has no words, and that can be very powerful sometimes. But if they're saying no, it's got to be the whole comic, then
where that comes from. That comes from page rates. So there's like, one of the biggest contentions in comics history was how did, oh gosh, it was either Kirby, well, I think it's both Kirby and Bill Sienkiewicz, maybe even Frank Miller. Can't remember, but the story goes that there were 7 pages of no dialogue, no narration, and it was very well rendered out storytelling and action. And the artist, I think it is either Miller or Sienkiewicz, argued, I think with Jim Shooter, and because Shooter was like, "There's no words. I'm not paying you for the rate." And so
Right.
I think there's a sort of a thing that ends up kind of binding you.
Money, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like there's so many things people get early in adoption of what a comic book is based on favorite comics and then talking about comics that I think we all, myself included, fall into, some type of this is a comic framework. And compensation can also be placed into it. I think one of the most powerful things, though, that doesn't really lose is in being successfully compensated for your pages is the rendering. And I think that's always something that I think artists should be very stuck to, if you will. You know what I mean? Like stay as close to as well rendered as possible. But it doesn't mean like every page has to be filled with that. But Craig Thompson, another comic book show I was watching this morning. His Blanket and Habibi and a couple of graphic novels. He's considered one of the greatest American comic book graphic novelists, and I'm going to end up getting some of these. But when you look at the pages, you're like, there is such a density and understanding and detail without it having to be just what I'm doing, which is, counter to it. But
Well,
you're getting value.
You mentioned him, so yeah, you mentioned him, so now you have to put a graphic up.
I certainly will. Example. I certainly will. Yeah, as I'm talking along the way.
People,
yep. So.
People can see. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to plug along here. I want to try and pick up the pace,
okay.
And because you can really zoom in too close and then get lost here. But you can see when you do the magic wand, there's these little gaps here. So now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to add to all this area. Then I'm going to do a 10% fill with a darken only, and move on to the next word balloon here. We're getting through the lettering on this. So this is only the 4th page you gave me, I think.
I gave you all of the pages.
I
gave you all the pages. Well, I mean, the second 6. So you're on 10.
The 4th of 6, right?
All right, you're on 10.
I believe.
No, it says 9. Your page says 9.
Oh, maybe it's 9. Oh, yeah. So this is only the 3rd.
Oh, boy.
I thought it. Oh, you know why? Because I went back. I think I went back and I did. I think I did something on one of the first 6. That's why I was confused. Because I have them all here. Remember, you said, should I send them all to you or just the last 6? And I was like, yeah, send them all, just in case.
Oh,
and
I did. That's
I think
right.
I opened.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lucky you. Lucky me.
Yeah. So just looking at this like up close, right? It's interesting to see your artwork when it's blowing up. Here's this problem that we're seeing. So all I have to do is just do a magic wand, and if I just hit delete, then we get our regular balloon back. A fix. I saw a fix. I saw it. This lettering, this also is kind of like standing apart from the rest of the art. Like, when you do a scan, you might not have 100% black, I'm looking here. This is only 91% in this area, and our lettering is 100%. And so we might have to make an adjustment about that too, either to make our blacks richer, or to on the art, or to make our blacks slightly lighter on the lettering, just so that it all matches. Because sometimes it's distracting if it's a different feel to the darkness. But those are all like the very, very minor tweaks we'll make at the very end when we're ready to ship this thing off. And I don't want to go out of order, so I'm going to do each word balloon at a time. I've done these top ones already, and I think they read a lot better. Some of the words are very, very crowded, and that's a problem. So we're going to go in and just move stuff apart, right? We have the space because we expanded the dialogue. Oops, not that much. Okay, we'll just a couple of clicks over, and then sometimes have to gather it all up and just horizontally scale it. That's the other way to do it, like that. And then I see like where do letters run together, and or where is there a letter that's like distractingly tilted or something like that. But I'm trying to fight my OCD here. Just we spoke about the lettering. We're going to streamline the whole process.
Yeah.
I think, for the next teaser, we'll start with the. I think for the next teaser we should start with starting with the font, and just leave all this how it is, and and then before we print the final book, when it's all done, then I'll go back and do all the lettering with the font to make it all match. Because if I'm doing all this in word balloons and then you're tracing it, it would be better off if I just substituted that font that I got for a good usable font with a lot of alternative characters, and then I could do all the final placements and everything, and that would cut out a huge, a couple of steps for us, right? Because it'll just be one layer on top of the art, and I just shoot it over to you. I mean, that'll be that. There won't be it won't be a two-man lettering job anymore. It'll just be me. But there will be a little bit of time involved in getting the font right. I started a font already, but I know that I want to change the letters and then also have alternative letters, and then even then they'll be going back and forth with kerning and spacing and horizontal scaling and all kinds of little things. I'll probably go back in and do bolding, and all that kind of stuff. So, like, just as I say that, beat the life out of him, the life beat out of him. You see how the bold really stands out?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to go in and do those because it gives the story a little punch.
Yeah, so we can pick this up in our next episode. We are over 45 minutes. We'd love to keep these episodes bite-sized because we'd love to get you back to you, the viewer, to reading comics, making them if you choose. Jake, I have nothing else to contribute to this episode. Do you have anything on the out?
Nope. People should check out our other two channels. We have a series on flip-throughs that we call Comics That Influence, and we have a series of interviews called the Indie Creator Exchange. Check it out, and see you back here on Making Turbo.
All right, we'll see ya.